All right, we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment, and it's going to be about what I talked about before the break here, which is going to be about MLB teams and putting them into tiers a little bit. So I've done some power rankings on here before, but I've never really talked about it with leagues and kind of putting those two together. So yeah, I definitely wanted to do that here and just talk about teams and what they're grouped in with, who they're grouped in with. So yeah, we have right here 5 tiers. We have elite, we have really good, we have and we have bad. So yeah, I just want to talk about these teams, why I put them there, and how I think they can get better maybe, and yeah, just about the tier in general. So we're gonna go from worst to best. So worst obviously is bad. I have 4 teams in this category. These are just teams that I think are really bad. I mean, they might be good in the future, but as of right now, they are not good. Um, I think the 4 teams are pretty obvious here. It's going to be the White Sox, the A's, the Nationals, and the Rockies. Now, I think all 4 of these teams are clearly rebuilding. Some of them might have a more clear future than the others. But yeah, I think all these teams don't really have redeeming qualities. I think they're all really, really bad. I don't think they are going to be competing whatsoever at all. And I think they're clearly rebuilding. The one team I would kind of single out here is the Nationals. I think the A's, White Sox, and Rockies are just plain old bad, bad, bad. Like, I don't think there's any redeeming qualities about their teams this year. And I don't think there's any chance they're good whatsoever. The Nationals, I kind of don't think that with. I think there's a possibility they could not be that horrible this year. As I've talked about before, they have a lot of young talent. I mean, I talked about him last segment with James Wood. You have C.J. Abrams ready up there, Mackenzie Gore. You have C.J. Abrams. I just talked about him, sorry. You have Robert Hassel as a guy who can come up as well. I mean, you have a lot of good prospects. You have Brady House. You have a lot of good prospects here. I mean, Dylan Cruz, you also just drafted. It's going to be a big part. So you have a lot of good prospects here as a Nationals fan. So I wouldn't be too worried about them. I think they're going to be pretty good next year, to be honest with you. Like, as a fan of a team in that division, I think I would be worrisome about them if they get some pitching, which I think is definitely possible. So, yeah, I definitely don't think they're as bad as the other 3 teams, but I didn't think they were at any levels good at all. But I think if they get all their young pieces to come together, they might not be that horrible. So that's why I wanted to single them out there. I still think they're really bad, obviously, as I put them in the bad category. But I don't think they're as bad as the other teams, if that makes sense. I think they're kind of a different kind of bad. Yeah. I'm also learning I misspelled performers for the last segment, the little thing on screen. So that was my fault. I apologize about that. Not great. Keeping going here with the tier lists. We have what I call the tier. They're just They're okay. Like, they're just fine. I mean, we have the Red Sox, we have the Guardians, we have the Angels, the Marlins, the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Brewers. These are teams I don't think are bad that they deserve to be in that category, but I don't think they're in the above tier, which is good either. So I kind of put them in this because I think they're just really mediocre, just really just Like, I think that's just what it is. I mean, that's why they're here. All these teams aren't so bad as to where they're blatantly tanking and that there's no chance of them being good, but they're also not good in any way either. That's the thing. I mean, just going the Red Sox, they have no redeeming qualities about them. They're just there. Same with the Guardians. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Guardians. They kind of have pitching but no hitting, and their pitching's getting injured as well, and it's even not that great to begin with. Angels, I don't really know what they are. They have a nice young core to build around, but you lost Ohtani, so that's obviously a huge loss when you lose the best player in baseball, I'd say. Marlins have some pitching, but it's all hurt, and their hitting's not that great either. And the Cardinals, Brewers, and Pirates, yes, there's 3 teams in the NL Central. I wanted to put them together. All these teams, again, aren't bad. It's just I don't think they're that good. I mean, it's 3 teams in one division, which wanted to talk about them together. I mean, the Cardinals have no pitching. I've talked about this so many times, but their hitting core is great. They just have no one to pitch. Pirates, kind of the same thing, but their hitting core isn't to the level of the Cardinals, and their pitching core is pretty bad, though, as well. So I definitely say they're on par with that. It's just they're a young team. They have a lot of younger guys who could potentially come up. So, yeah, that's why they're in the ant tier. They're not bad, but they're definitely not good. And same with the Brewers. After trading Burns, losing Woodruff for the full year, trading Canna, their team is kind of just mediocre for the first time in a while, and I think they'll be good next year. I think they're building towards something, but I definitely don't think they're good right now, and that they're going to be a contender. The third tier we have here is good. These are teams, again, I think are good, but not great, and are kind of in the mid tier of the playoffs right now. It's kind of definitely fighting for a spot. We have the Royals, the Tigers, the Mets, the Cubs, the Reds, the Padres, and the Giants. Now, going to the AL teams first before we do a little thing about the NL teams, because there is a lot of them. The Royals and the Tigers here, I thought both, obviously both are AL Central teams. I thought both made pretty good moves this offseason. The Tigers adding a lot to that bullpen, getting Jack Flaherty, getting Mark Canha, I thought were really, really solid moves. But I still don't think they're that good. Sorry, I don't think they're that great. I don't think they're a true contender. But I wanted to give them some credit for trying, for making these moves that I did enjoy. And I think they're good. I think their pitching staff has a lot of young pieces there that are very intriguing. You have, of course, Tarek Skubal. You have Casey Mize, who I'm not sure what his injury timetable looks like. Jack Flaherty, of course, who you signed. There's a lot of pieces there. But other than that, you have the nice hitting core. I mean, Spencer Torkelson. You have Colt Keith and Ibanez. You have Javier Baez still there somehow. Parker Meadows, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter. So there's a lot of nice young players for the Tigers there. And I think I wanted to give them credit for that, and I don't think they're that bad. So I think they're pretty good. And I'm glad to put them in this tier as being horrible for so long. So good for them, and good for them for trying. Same thing with the Royals, really. They saw they had an opportunity to go for it with some young guys coming up. They hadn't been good in a while, and they wanted their rebuild to be over, so they went for it, signing a lot of good players. Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, Will Smith, Chris Stratton, Hunter Renfroe. A lot of good guys there. Just solid guys that can help you build around this team. So I'd be really excited if I was a Royals fan for the season, kind of putting it all together. Your obvious face of the franchise isn't Bobby Witt, who you extended. So, yeah, definitely a exciting season for Royals fans, which is not something I expected to say a while back. But, yeah, definitely good for them. After that, we have NL teams. I've talked about them yesterday a lot with the Dylan Cease segment because the Padres are here, of course. Which is the Mets, Cubs, Reds, Padres, Giants. All these teams I think are good, but I don't think they're with the tiers of the top four teams in the NL, who I think are definite playoff locks. The Royals and the I think it's the Cubs and the Cubs and the Reds versus each other to win the NL Central. Whoever wins that will get the 3 seed, and then the other team will fight for the 6 seed with the teams like the Padres, the Giants, the Mets. So, yeah, all teams that are good but aren't amazing and aren't playoff locks and are going to be on the edge of the playoffs looking in. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to put them in this tier. And yeah, that's really it. They're kind of just mediocre. They're good, but they're good, but they're not great and they're not bad. So that's why they're in this tier list. It's, again, the same with these 7 teams, the Royals, Tigers, Mets, Cubs, Reds, Padres, Giants. I think the Padres are a little bit ahead of all these teams here after the Cease trade. I did really love it for them. So, yeah, take that into consideration as well. But I don't think they're too ahead to kind of be so far in front of everyone else, if you get what I mean. We have the really good tier, which is teams that I think are very, very good, but aren't elite, aren't at the top of the entire league, which I only have 5 teams there, so it's not too much. not too much teams there anyway. So again, these teams I think are most likely playoff locks, but aren't that great. So yeah. First we have the NL teams, which is the obvious Phillies and Diamondbacks. I think these are the most obvious teams of really good teams. I don't think they're up to the level on paper of the Braves and the Dodgers. To be fair, both these teams beat the Braves and the Dodgers, and as the Braves and the Dodgers haven't shown in the past that they are really suited for the playoffs. But I think on paper and as regular season teams, which we are talking about, the Phillies and the Diamondbacks are the teams that you should be looking to as really good teams, as not necessarily playoff locks, but just really, really good teams that can win a championship, but aren't on the tier level of an elite team right now. And they're still amazing, still really high in them, but they're not high in the tier. After that, we have for the AL 4 teams. I wanted to go Rays, Blue Jays, Twins, Mariners, Rangers. 5 teams actually. Sorry. Yeah, I think all these teams are really good. The thing is that they all can't make it, obviously, because there's not 5 wild card spots. You have the 2. You have the 3. So I mean, I think when you look at that, you have obviously we know what teams are going to be the elite now. I mean, you have AL West, I would say, is a lock to go to the Astros unless something crazy happens. You have the AL Central, whatever team's gonna win that, which I think will be the Twins. So they're kind of a lock, I'd say. And then AL East, you have Orioles, Yankees. Then in wild card, you have most likely Orioles/Yankees in the first wild card. And then you have these 4 teams battling out for 2 spots. You have the Rays, you have the Blue Jays, you have the Mariners, you have the Rangers, and then you have the Royals and Tigers, who I have below that as teams that could potentially go above them if everything works out. So it's all very interesting to see what happens. I think all these teams are very good, but not up to the elite tier yet because of whatever reason. I was debating putting the Rangers here, but I ended up putting them here. Just for the benefit of the doubt, because they are the World Series champions. I want to show some respect to them. I still think they have a lot of work to do with their pitching staff, but I think their hitting core is just too great for me not to put them in this kind of tier, and the fact they've shown they can win. So that's why I put them there. But everyone else here, again, I still think is a really... Ooh, sorry about that. That was loud. I apologize for that. I think every team here is really good, and I think they're all definitely going to be in the playoff race for a long time and have a really good chance of making it. After that, we have the elite teams, which, I mean, you figured out by now. Orioles, Yankees, Astros in the AL, and Braves and Dodgers in the NL. These are teams that I think are absolute playoff locks unless something crazy happens. All teams, I think, are just pretty incredible teams, are going to be championship contenders no matter what, again, unless something absolutely crazy happens. Orioles added Corbin Burns after a 100-win season. Yankees added Juan Soto, even with the Garrett Cole injury and the weird stuff about Aaron Judge, which we'll talk about in the next segment. I still think they're a pretty elite team, and they're pretty great. Astros, of course, it's the Astros. We know this already. Braves and Dodgers, again, same thing. We kind of know this with the additions they've made and what they've been the past few years. So, those are the elite teams in the MLB. Those are all my tier lists for all the teams, in the MLB. Kind of something different that I haven't really done before. Kind of a different style of ranking, but I enjoyed it. It got me to talk about all these teams, not just in separated segments about the league. So, that was really exciting and super happy about it. So, that was my 3rd segment. We're going to go to our 4th and final segment here, which is going to be about what usually we talk about at the end, which is some news around the league. Just some general stories I did want to talk about. And, just excited to talk about these and excited to go to our 4th segment. And but before that, we're going to take a break. So thanks. We'll see you after that. Bye.